What is the most degrading thing you have ever done for money? My dad was a drug addict and therefore took us around his drug addict friends and dealers. I was around 7 when they needed to keep me occupied so they could go get high, so his friend promised me a $20 bill if I cleaned out his refrigerator. Of course I agreed. Without even seeing the fridge, I opened up a nasty moldy stinky bug filled box. It was completely covered inside with spilled soda and potato bugs, maggots, black mold, fuzzy mold. It was awful, and I'm fairly certain this would be considered child endangerment today. They didn't provide me with a mask or gloves, but I wanted that $20, so I got to work. I'm not even sure how long I was working on it, but I got it as clean as I could before my dad told me it was time to go. I never got that $20. The next time I saw my dad's friend, I mentioned he owed me money and he laughed and said, "Oh, that's right, I owe you $5. I'll bring it next time, kid." And that's when I learned people who abuse drugs also abuse people. Edit. Thank you, anonymous stranger, for the gold. Frick, this is a sad one. I feel really bad for little you. I met this guy on Craigslist who offered me $100 for a back massage. When I got there, he wanted me to step all over his back, then his neck, then his face. It was a little strange, but he said he had been going to a massage therapist in another town and I thought maybe it's just something they do there. Well, later he contacted me and asked if I'd stomp on his dong for $500. I did it. He had a special table he made for this and everything, and some very weird role playing he wanted me to get into. I was fully clothed the whole time, but he wanted me to pretend I was a giant goddess and was squishing him like a bug. It was very freaking weird. Lady, I could explain it to you, but I'm not sure you're the type of woman who wants to know what exactly that was. Drank a paper cup full of Pizza Hut buffalo sauce for $10. Also related, chugged a bare bottle of honey for $30, I believe. Puking honey is one of the most painful experiences of my life. 7/10 would not recommend. I ate 30 plus Carolina Reaper wings for beer. Was a food comp and you won your weight in beer. Sold it for a few $100. Years back, some guy offered to buy my shoes off me in the street. These shoes were falling apart, split down the heel, holes in the sole, scuffed to heck, being worn by a strung out looking skinny person. Said to me, "I'll give you 40 quid for your shoes. I collect shoes." I was actually just down the street from my flat, so I kinda looked at him for a second, said, "Are you serious?" To which he nodded solemnly. I got my shoes off so dang fast. I wasn't wearing any socks either. This didn't seem to faze him. He immediately handed me £50, took the shoes, and walked off without a further word. I went into my flat, put on another pair of even more fricked up shoes, went back out and spent that 50 quid on booze and some other crap. TBH, even if I hadn't been right down the street from my flat, I probably would have taken him up on it. I was extremely broke. He definitely fricked those shoes, and for £50. I sincerely hope he enjoyed it. Foot fetishes are a thing. Wouldn't surprise me if you not wearing socks was a bonus for him. Some of them relish the smell. Telemarketing, selling credit card payment insurance to people. Never sign up for it, people. It's a scam. My best friend came home from the bars one night, drunk and hungry. His roommate, not me, was the only one with food. My friend asked for the frozen pizza and was told he can have it if he snorts the roommate's pee. So my friend proceeded to snort a shot glass of his pee. After puking, he got the pizza, put it in the oven, passed out and awoke to a charred, black, uneaten pizza. This may not count, as the payment was pizza and not money, but I'll never get a better chance to tell that story on here. Jesus freaking Christ. I'm not experienced in things besides everyday air going in my nose, but this sounds absolutely horrendous. I don't know if I could stand by and watch anyone do this. Rubbed grapefruit in my eye for $1. Hurt like heck. Wore contacts at the time. When I put my contact back in, it burned all over again. 2 for the price of 1. My brother dared me to chug the whole bottle of maple syrup at our breakfast table for $50. I thought I was going to die. It was so thick and disgusting, it just wouldn't go down. I literally tasted syrup for a week straight after that. You gotta open the throat, and you get no suction power from those thin little chicken lips. Had sex for a McDonald's quarter pounder. As we say in Europe, you fornicated for a royale. Worked as a slot attendant for a casino, was groped almost daily and didn't even get to keep my tips. Moved on to another casino as cage cashier, still pretty degrading but out of arm's reach, and I kept my tips. Quit the industry altogether when they started pulling. For a bet I ate a jar of mustard for 20 euros. I hate mustard, but I was so drunk I just scooped the mustard up with my fingers. All I can say is that beer and mustard don't mix well inside your stomach, all I can say is that beer and mustard don't mix well inside your stomach. Excuse you, Germany, probably. I agreed to get tased for £150. In my defense, I was most of the way to drunk. Against my defense, I pee myself. If my friends had a taser and I was drunk enough, then I would probably do it for free just to find out what being hit with a taser feels like. I used to write video game reviews. Worst game ever. 10/10 in. I worked for a collection agency. I didn't realize how scummy it was until a few months in. I didn't stay too long after that. So let me tell you about the other products Cutco offers. Never again. When I worked at a grocery store, I used to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on break since it was cheap. I'd buy all the ingredients and just sit in the break room and scarf down 3-4 sandwiches before returning to work. One day, one of my co-workers saw me scarfing them down and asked if I could eat the whole loaf of sandwiches. I told him I think I could, but asked what he wanted to bet me. He said if I could do it that he'd buy me a whole loaf of bread, jar of peanut butter, and jar of jelly. Naturally I agreed. I managed to eat the whole thing in a little under 30 minutes, but admittedly I was being pretty sparse with my usage of PB&J by the end. When I finished, I felt like walking at my normal speed would make my body explode, so I walked at half speed and took it easy. Admittedly I did it as a broke college kid because I'd save about $4 by having him buy me a new jar of PB and a new jar of J. This experience didn't stop me from continuing to eat PB&J on future breaks. Also, later that night I took the biggest crap in the world. Somebody in the world takes the biggest crap of the day, every day, and they don't even know it. I think about that a lot. I needed money pretty badly when I was 17. I moved out of my parents' house and couldn't afford to eat or pay rent, and I got laid off my job. I went around house to house asking if they needed their lawn raked. After a couple confused looks, why is a 17-year-old doing this? I prepared a fake clipboard and donation slips for multiple sclerosis, saying I would rake their lawn if they made a $10 to $40 donation. I couldn't believe how many of these I was able to do. BTW, raking lawns is hard work. I never donated the money, I used it to live. But since I lost my mom and sister to Ms., which kinda put me in that situation, I don't feel bad about it. For all you confused folks, this guy's plan was GoFundMe 1988. Continued dating a girl that I knew I should break up with because she was basically paying my rent. Still feel kinda icky about it 20 years later. Performed as a dancing milkshake. $20 is $20. I was homeless for a bit after high school, living out of my car. I had some of my things with me. One of these items was over the course of my childhood my grandfather had collected those quarters of all 50 states for all of us grandkids. I opened that up and used the quarters for gas money to get a job. I have been trying my best to recollect them. If you are missing any states, I will happily mail them to you if I find them. Ro, thanks for the gold. Suddenly my story about being a H is no longer my top comment. Lol. Designed in laser cut some anime chicks banging on some dude's vape. Neckbird, 100. I showed a girl and her mother my dong piercing for $10 in a nightclub. Actually, it might have been when I slept with a girl so she would pay for my AOL subscription. Apparently my teenage nephew needs Fortnite money so bad he resorted to stealing my crap. Like I don't trust this sweet little man anymore because he's so addicted to goddamn Fortnite that he stole a pocket knife and a dugout from me. Like he got $15 maximum. He risked our very close relationship for what? 2 skins? My kid racked up $200 in Fortnite BS. We share a PS4. I'm a gamer and buy games online WMyCC. He starts bragging to me about all this free stuff he's getting from Fortnite. Lies. Meanwhile he knows he's buying this and that. I saw my statement and nearly died. So addicted to this game he stole and flexed on his own mother. Whoa. A friend got me a job for a day collecting bottles in a bar right in the center of Pride weekend in Birmingham, UK when I was a student back in 2005. The degrading bit was that I got continually groped all day, high spirits and drugs mostly, and, because I needed the money, I didn't leave. I worked 14 hours straight for £70 before going to my job in a bar in the center of town. The sad part is that my car got towed whilst I was in there by one of these scam tiny sign on a disused patch of grass towing companies and it cost £160 to get it back. I was also late to my bar job. Ended up working the night before, that day and that night, 35 hours of a 40-hour period and didn't even break even. This form of towing is completely illegal. Puts on Will from the In-Betweener's voice. I was like 8 and wanted money at the cottage. Aunt told me I could stir the crap hole, outhouse, if I was desperate. So I found the longest down tree branch I could, took off all the twigs, etc. Then used that 8-foot bastard to stir it up. Then went to collect my money. She laughed at me, said she couldn't believe it. So I fished the branch out of the forest and left it on the hood of her car. $10 to wash the crap off of your car. I used to write erotic stories on commission. That's not the degrading part. I love doing it, and most of them were a joy to write, even if it wasn't my own personal fetish. It was nice to know that someone was out there getting off to what I was writing, even if the money was limited, as it was when I was starting out. I had a couple of clients who hired me on the regular. A couple of times at the start I took commissions for things I wasn't comfortable writing, but I needed the money. That didn't feel great. It's hardly high literature, but you can ask anyone who does it. You put a lot of yourself into your work, and having to basically just dance for someone else's, often pretty disturbing, fetishes isn't a good feeling. It took about 3 or 4 bad commissions before I decided that I was absolutely, no way, going to take on a commission I didn't enjoy or that made me feel gross ever again. I was 13 and my brother had to do community service for some stupid, illegal thing he did. My brother didn't want to do it and decided he was not going to go. My father asked me if I would do it in his stead. No one bothered to check IDs, just expected a kid to show up, so my brother wouldn't get into more trouble. I negotiated for a new video game if I would do it. The community service was about 80 hours at a local park. All of the guys there treated me like crap and talked down to me because I was some butthole kid that fricked up. I took it and just bided my time till the end. At the end of my last day after I got the signed off form I told them how crappy and stupid they were for not realizing that someone else did the community service. One guy threatened to tell someone about it. I countered that it would look really bad on them for not asking for something as basic as identification and left. Nothing ever came of it. I was 13 and my brother had to do community service for some stupid, illegal thing he did. My brother didn't want to do it and decided he was not going to go. My father asked me if I would do it in his stead. That sounds like some pretty crappy parenting. I was in a gay erotica film. Only paid $250. Most uncomfortable experience of my life. Worked in a call center for a cable company doing tier 2 support. You deal with the most worthless piece of crap, people screaming at you because their service got cut off from non-payment and threatening to get you fired over something you had nothing to do with. When I was 16 I showed someone I met on RuneScape my IT for 20 million gold coins. I know it's not real money but it was pretty degrading. Got 99 magic with it though, so no regrets. In 2011 that was like 13-20 bucks. I guess some people might find this degrading. A mate once said I could keep a $5 if I stapled it to my top lip. I'd do it again, too. I'm a dude for context and this is not necessarily degrading, but it was pretty out there in terms of getting money for me. I did figure posing for a small art collective when I was in college. Very professional with exceptionally talented artists. The whole shebang. The dude who set it up asked me if I would do it for a group at another studio, in the nude. Got to pose naked next to a beautiful woman in front of 50 or so absolute strangers. It was a very liberating experience to say the least. Once you've been naked in front of a room full of strangers, not much else phases you after that. I've actually wanted to try this. It sounds like an interesting experience. I worked as a cook at a strip club, the kind where the kitchen was at the end of the bar and you'd have to take the customers' orders yourself. One night this drunk, arrogant piece of crap comes up and starts bragging about how much money he had. Then he asked for deep fried chicken we had, which was about $10. Guy pulls out a $20 and flicks it my way, tells me he could afford to pay even more, pulls out another $20 and does the same, then another, still bragging about his massive wealth. So I proceeded to cook him up the best chicken tendies money could buy, kept the extra cash but felt real dirty about it for the rest of the night. I once agreed to buy pseudoephedrine to sell to my cousin's dealer for her because she was flat broke and he was paying $50 a box. At our last stop of the day, as I was making my purchase, the pharmacist realized what I was about. The lady flat out said I should be disgusted with myself for what I was doing. Definitely was. Never did that crap again. Worked in a members only restaurant as a sushi girl where we served food naked and either acted as the table or did things with the meal in exchange for tips. Was a dog groomer, anal gland cleansing, and smelling like wet dog all the time. I ate a worm that was roasted over a fire in front of my friends for $20 because I honestly really needed the money. How to eat fried worms must be based on your life, dog. I've drawn and written smut for money. I wouldn't consider it degrading myself, but I know others might. I also cross-dressed once for a chocolate bar. Again though, not really degrading in my mind. Personally, I'd say the most degrading thing I've done for money was work in a call center. Never again. Frick, if I could draw I'd make a banner for our cast for King Brigands if it meant I got paid. Let a guy do some weird stuff to my feet for $100. Joined the Marine Corps, but hey, I get paid every 2 weeks no matter what. The 1st and the 15th we get paid. The 2nd and the 16th we get laid. The 3rd and the 17th we go broke. Marine Corps pay is a effkin joke. Straight male who once topped a gay man for $20 so I could buy crack. I was offered money to bottom a few times but never enough to cross that line. That just sounds like smart economics. This way, you got crack twice over. Was an absolutely broke butt student. We are talking literally zero in the bank when my friends were going to a house party that weekend. Well, have fun guys. I don't even have bus fare to get there. Never mind cash for a pizza and some beer. One of my mates says they will loan me £25 and just pay them back when I got paid from work. Turns out the place we were going to was 2 bus rides to get there, with no late night student bus getting back to town. So I was going to have to use the remaining £20 to split a taxi fare with one of the guys back home, which would have been about £30 in total. This left me approx £5 for food and beer at this party that we had just rocked up to. Frick it, I'll just get the cheapest bottle of cider and 4 cans of Pisswater lager and just get hammered on that. Get back to the party and put the 2L bottle of something resembling apple cider and the cans on the kitchen worktop looking for a pint glass to start making some snake bites. When I hear a massive crash behind me, a drunk girl had knocked the cans of lager onto the hard stone floor, bursting 2 of them in a shower of lukewarm booze. My friends decided to host a fundraiser for me, where for every dare I completed they would chuck in a £1 coin. Over the course of the night I swapped my t-shirt with one of the girls, who was wearing a small petty pink tank top. I'm a 6 foot tall guy who weighs 18 stone, 250 lbs. Pulled out some of my chest hair and ate it in a bread bun. Put some lip gloss on and had to refer to the other guys as sailor for an hour. Waxed my shins. Made a fake account on Adult Fantasy RPG forum and had to read out the few responses I got in the guise of Gandalf. Complete with mop, clean and dry, beard, wearing a green dressing gown at the top of the stairs. All in all, it was fun night, but dang, I was whoring myself out £1 at a time. Sucked a guy's nuts behind the dumpster of Wendy's. I have a friend who is a dom and she has a couple slaves who live overseas that paid her money, like $150 to $200, to send a condom with her husband's jizz in it. They want to eat the jizz to humiliate themselves on her behalf. Her husband wants no part of it, so she asked me if I would jizz in a condom and mail it to them for half the money. Heck yeah, I will. Easiest $100 I ever made. Also, I was telling another friend about the jizz money and she was utterly appalled. I mentioned that there was another potential customer and she says, oh my gosh, you have to do it again, and I had to correct her. I said no, I get to do it again. You have been visited by the party pug. He just wants you to celebrate with him. Comment woohoo to celebrate with the party pug. Thanks for watching. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.